Hi, Sue. How are you today?
Hello, 大家好,
Gay ho, gay ho.
幾好,
It's very cold at where Sue lives, so I hope everybody is safe. Here in California, we have been having quite some rain this past weekend too. Many people are having floods and power outages at home. So we hope that you're staying safe and staying dry. Again, Sue is back with us for our lesson 2 for our Lunar New Year edition. And if you haven't met Sue, let me introduce her to you again. Sue is a content creator of Cantonese Corner. That is a YouTube channel that she created. She puts a lot of her Cantonese teaching and learning materials up there on YouTube. She also runs a website called Cantolingo, which you will be able to find traditional character classes there as well that she's teaching. And Sue lived in Hong Kong for more than 30 years. So she lived in there longer than I have, actually. So her Cantonese is actually better than mine, I would say. And she learned Cantonese as an adult. So I think she will be able to share with you how she learned it and some of the fun and best way to do it as well. So Sue, welcome back. I'm going to pass this on to you.
Thank you, Janet, and thank you everybody for joining us here for our Let's Canto Talk. This is actually, if it's the first time you're joining us, this is our second time that we're doing it for Lunar New Year. So we were with you last week, this week, and next Wednesday as well. And then last year in August and September, we also did a series of 3 classes, and we talked about family relations and going for yamcha, dim sum, and all of that good stuff. So I'm really happy to be back here again. And again, I do have a channel on YouTube called Cantonese Corner. I learned Cantonese as an adult. So I didn't grow up in Hong Kong and I didn't learn it as a child. I finished university and then I went to Hong Kong. So my big tip of the day for you, if you're just starting to learn Hong Kong, get a radio app and listen to Hong Kong radio or another. I'm only really familiar with Hong Kong radio shows like RTHK, commercial radio in Cantonese, and start listening with intention to Cantonese, because being a tonal language, it has a lot of rhythm and tones to it. So you're going to want to do that. Today, we're going to be talking about getting ready for Chinese New Year in terms of preparations. For example, buying new clothes, getting a haircut, and other New Year preparations, as well as your New Year's Eve dinner, which is probably the most important meal of the year when you come together as a family and you tune in, which is break the year and enter the new year. So let's get started. There's a very traditional picture there in Hong Kong during the Lunar New Year. So we're going to start today by just, if it is the first time that you're here or you're just learning Cantonese, of course, it is a tonal language. There are 6 tones in Cantonese. You'll notice that the 3 flat tones are 1, 3, and 6. Your high tone, middle tone, and low tone. Then you have 2 rising tones, tone 2 and 5, the difference being where you start. You can tell, obviously, tone 2 is a bit higher, tone 5 is lower. Then you've got tone 4, which is a falling tone, and it's actually the lowest one. It might start around a little bit above 6, but it goes down even lower than 6. So if you've always wondered, like, wait a minute, I thought 1 was the highest and 6 was the lowest. Actually, no, 4 goes a bit lower. So yeah, those are all the tones. And we're going to review a little bit of words that we learned last summer. Okay, so these are going to be useful today in our dialogue for New Year, because of course, Lunar New Year is all about family. So let's review how to say your dad. There are a few different ways in Cantonese to say your dad, but one that we're going to share with you is just your low ba, high ba, so ba ba. So this is really easy to get correct with the tones because you're literally going the very lowest to the very highest. So you don't have to worry about like falling in the middle somewhere, like with the 3rd tone. You're like, is it high enough? Is it low enough? You're literally going ba ba, right? Ba ba. And a lot of times it's just abbreviated aba, right? Aba, that first ba, right? And then just an in the front, aba, right? Or ba ba. Your mom, one way to say it, which is very common, is your ma, ma, Hey, mama. And then if you abbreviate this one, it's going to be ama, going to the high first tone. Ama. Okay, so remember that one. And then we have a lot more family relations on the what we did last summer. We went quite in depth into the family relations. So you'll see more of that if you go to the YouTube channel for the Oakland Public Library. But today it's good to know your sibling relationships. So your eldest brother or your older brother is going to be your go go. So these are all going low to high. So super simple, right? Go go, right? Go go is going to be your brother, older brother. Your younger brother is your sai lo. Now that hits sai lo. I had that rising too low. Sai lo. Your sai lo is going to be your younger brother. Your ga now you'll notice your eldest or older sister is going to be two number one high tones. So ga right, just way up high, ga and then your youngest sister, moi moi, right, moi moi, right, moi moi, moi moi. And Janet and Wendy, chime in if you think you can give a little bit more of the pronunciation. Moi moi, right, is going to be your youngest or your younger sister.
Yep, that's correct. Moi moi.
Paternal grandfather. Now, here's where family relations get really interesting. Well, of course, with the siblings, you saw it. You've got different names for your older brother and sister and your younger brother and sister. When it comes to your grandparents, it's not just grandma and grandpa. You've got a certain name if it's your dad's or your paternal, your dad's dad or your dad's mom or your mom's dad. So the first one is going to be your dad's dad, your paternal grandfather, which is your yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah is paternal grandfather, paternal grandmother, mama, right? And those are two ma. Now, do you remember I said that when you abbreviate your mother, it's ama, that ma, and that's really important because if you abbreviate your grandmother, it's ama, right? So remember your grandmother is low and your mother is high. Okay, so you don't want to make the mistake of calling your mom like ama, because that would be like calling her grandmother, okay? Ama is going to be your paternal grandmother. Your maternal grandfather is going to be your gong gong, right? Gong gong. That's right, Janet? We had a big discussion about it.
That's
Right?
right. Gong gong, gong gong.
Mhm. Yeah, and you'll notice now if you are learning characters, or you'll notice that all of these characters for the paternal grandfather, paternal grandmother, they're all the same, right? You're just doubling up the character, but the tones are different for some of them. So mama is the same, but we've got gong, gong, right? Going low to high for the maternal grandfather. Maternal grandmother is your paw, right? Paw is your maternal grandmother. And a lot of times this is another way just to call an elderly lady, right? A paw. So you might hear that more in common conversation, just referring to an elderly lady or an elderly woman. Mm-hmm. So then reviewing a few more family relations, your husband, there are a few different ways to name your husband. Some of them are more colloquial, some of them are formal. This one here kind of is very common. It's your 老公. Now the fifth tone is going to be your rising. So 老公is a common way to call your husband. It's not the most formal way, but it is a very common way. 我老公, right? My husband. 我老公. So your husband's dad or your father-in-law, right? It would be your father-in-law, would be your 老爷, right? 老爷. And then your husband's mom or your mother-in-law is going to be your 奶奶. Now you'll notice this is one that you might more commonly hear as an L sound with your 奶奶, right? 我奶奶, my mother-in-law, and 我奶奶. Your wife, again, your husband is your 老公, your wife is your 老婆, right? 老婆. And yeah. And then your wife's dad or your mother-in-law on your wife's side is going to be your 外父, Am I right about that? Because my husband is Chinese, and so I know all of the husband ones, and I never know the wife one, and I never hear them.
Yep,
So
that's
these are kind
correct.
of okay, cool, because these are
Mhm.
ones. Oh, good. Okay, good, because if you're in a in if your husband is Chinese or your partner, and then obviously you're going to be using one more than the other. And so I seldom hear, but the ngoại phụ is your wife's dad, and your wife's mom is going to be your ngoại mẫu. Okay, ngoại phụ and ngoại mẫu, ngoại mẫu. Yeah, okay. So now let's learn some new ones that are specific to Chinese New Year that we're going to be using in some phrases and dialogue. And the first one is your guo lin, right? Guo lin, right? Guo is your third tone. Lin is that low falling fourth tone. If you guo lin, you might hear that a lot, like, oh, 你過年做乜嘢? Or 你哋諗住做乜嘢? 即係過年嗰陣時，我去咗旅行, or something like that, which means like at that time of year, like during the Chinese New Year, what do you do? Or I went traveling during Chinese New Year. And so when you hear Guolin, you know you're talking about that Chinese New Year time, and I guess like celebrating that New Year time. But it's really like that time, because the word guo, right, means to pass, to pass by. So it's kind of like passing over the year, and name is year, right? So that time of year when you pass from the old year into the new year. The second one that we're going to learn today is to prepare, because a lot goes into preparing for Chinese New Year. So it's going to be your 准备, right? 准 is your second tone arising. 准备, right? Bei is just that flat low tone. 准备, and that means to prepare or get ready for, right? You're getting ready for something. Next one is 不如, right? But is your very high tone, but, and then down low for you, right? But you. And that means like, why don't we? So you're going to be proposing something like, why don't we go shopping? Or why don't we eat dinner? Or why don't we? So that's a really useful phrase, and you'll hear it a lot, like, 不如我哋, like we, 不如我哋食飯, right? What, how about we eat dinner? That's quite simple, but you'll hear this a lot. It's very useful. 不如. Another one that goes high to low is yet high, right? Yet is number one, yet, the first tone, yet, and then high is fourth low falling. You can't go wrong with the tones with this one, right? Just high to low, yet high, right? So, 不如我哋一齊食飯, right? 不如 is what we had before. How about 不如我哋 we 一齊食飯? 一齊 is your together. And that's used anytime you want to say together. So very useful. So here is a sentence. I know there's a lot of words there, but you'll notice the first two that were the first four characters we're saying is just the name, grandma and grandpa, right? And then we're going to be saying literally, you prepare good Chinese New Year yet, and then a particle at the end. So we've got gong gong, paw paw, 你準備好過年未啊? Okay, so that's a very slow way to say all that. And it literally means grandma and grandpa, you, 你, 準備, which is your prepare, 好. Now, if you see the 好 character, that means good, literally means good. But when you put it after a word like 準備, right, it means like, are you ready? Did you get ready? Did you prepare well? Right? And you can translate it kind of that way, that meaning, like, are you ready? And then our 過年, which is Chinese New Year time, 過年, may, a little bit lower, the sixth tone, may is going to be yet. Okay, yet is our may. And we covered those, I think, last summer. So a little bit of review stuck in there for you too. Would anybody like to have a go in reading that? That sentence, that question? If you would like to, just unmute, and then you can have a go at reading that. Anybody brave enough?
I'll do it.
Okay, yay. Okay, yes, please.
公公婆婆，你準備好過年未啊？
Yeah. Yep, that's really good. Oh, okay. If we do it all together, it will be less intimidating. I think that's what I'm not seeing the whole comment, but definitely we can do it together. But thank you for being brave to do it alone. So let's do it together on the count of 1, 2, 3.
公
公公婆婆，你準備好過年未呀？
Yes. Yay, that sounded really good. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. It is a little bit, but if anybody would like to do it on their own, just please feel free to do that. The next one we've got is another sentence that might come in handy. 不如我哋一齊準備過年啦. So again, we've got our 不如, which is our how about. The 我哋 is we. 我 is I. You add the they, it makes it plural. 我哋. And then our together, which is 一齊. And then prepare, 準備. And then our Chinese New Year time, the new year, is 過年. And then a particle at the end is 啦 for the suggestion. So let's try it together in 1, 2, 3. 不如我哋一齊準備過年啦. Yeah, very good. Hey, Janet, can I ask you to read that as you would read it if you were just talking to your mom or dad, as quick as it would be?
不如我哋一齊準備過年啦。
And that's why it's really important because it's really important to be listening to Cantonese spoken because it might sound kind of like when I listen to Mandarin sometimes I'm like I can't differentiate it yet because I'm just not used to hearing it, but the more you hear it the more you'll be able to pick up where those tones are going and where the breaks are in the conversation. So yes, listen more. Okay, so that's 不如我哋 and I don't remember, so
準備過年啦。
Oh, 準備過年啦. Okay, so the next one. Now, this is interesting because we've got our 年廿八, right? 年廿八. Those are the first three characters. You'll recognize 年 or 年 with the N or L sound. That means year. Now, 廿八 is 28. Now you might have learned your numbers and you might think like, wait a minute, 28 is 28, right? 28 is the number 28, but there is a condensed form when you're talking about in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and that is you condense the 28 into ya, and then you've got bat, which is 8, right? So 年廿八 is the 28th day of the year. Which is the second to last day before the Chinese New Year, because there's 30 days in the lunar calendar, right? And so 年廿八 would be 2 days before the New Year. In any case, no matter what day of the I don't know what it's called, the Western calendar, right? It falls on, it's still referred to as 年廿八, 年廿九, and then 年三十, right? Those are the 3 days before the New Year. So on 年廿八, you're supposed to 洗邋遢. 洗 is your second tone, which means clean. 洗, and then 邋遢 is dirty. Like the dirt, right? The dirt. Like if you hear somebody say, ho 污糟邋遢, or 邋遢 is like a, yeah. Have you heard that before? Yeah, it just means like dirty. So 洗 is to clean up the dirt in your home. So 年廿八 is the 28th day of the month, and that is when you're supposed to 洗邋遢, which is clean.
Because that's also gonna wash away all the bad lucks and evil spirits away before the Chinese New Year, so then we can prepare for all the new things and all the good things for the new year.
All the good luck coming in.
Yep,
and
all
that's
the
why
good
it's really,
luck.
Yep. So that's one tradition, and that's why, Okay, so our next one before Chinese New Year is you 剪 剪头发. So 剪 means to cut.
剪
Okay. Yep. 剪. Oh yeah, we should probably repeat these words that we're learning. So 剪头发. You want to repeat that one?
剪头发，
头发，
剪头
Mhm.
剪头发，
剪
Yeah.
头发
mhm. Yep. And 剪 means to cut. Your 头, it's that low falling, really 头, and that's your head, literally. And so 头发, fa is your hair. So hair on your head, literally. So cut your hair is 剪头发. And in Hong Kong, I think elsewhere as well, typically the prices for cutting your hair for a haircut are double, sometimes triple what they normally would be during Chinese New Year. And mhm. So a lot of times people will be like, I need to cut my hair like even a little bit earlier before they raise the prices. But
Yeah,
that's
and usually the haircut and the cleaning will happen before the first day of Chinese New Year. Again, is to have a clean cut and a clean break to start a new year, to get all the bad luck away and to welcome the new luck to come.
yes.
And then during Chinese New Year, there's actually no haircuts and also no house cleaning because you might sweep away all the good stuff.
Exactly. You probably have heard that if you have Chinese family or friends, they're like, yeah, first day, don't do any sweeping at all, or it's super unlucky. Okay, so here is just some practice with the 剪头发, right? Now you're going to notice again, we're saying, Grandpa, you look so handsome with your new haircut. And we've got a few other review words in there. So the first one is your yeah, right? Yeah. And that's your grandpa on your dad's side. And then nei is you. And then zin, we learned zin is to cut. Now we've got zin jaw. Your jaw character is in there because it's past tense. Okay, so zin jaw makes it past tense. That's like your ed form of the verb, right? Cut. Well, cut is not ed, but you know what I mean, right? 剪咗, and then your 頭髮. So 你剪咗頭髮. And then you're going to be saying, wow, really handsome. 好靚仔喎. Right? 好靚仔喎. Right? Like that. So do you guys want to try it together? In 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. 你剪咗頭髮，好靚仔喎。
哇
And those particles at the end of the sentence, they really do come with time. It might be like, well, how do I know when to put the la or the wa or the ga or the gama or all of those different endings? And it's intimidating to use them, but they will come in time, and they make it so much more fun because they have so much expression to them at the end. So an answer to that would be, your grandfather might say to you, especially if you're the son or granddaughter saying it, they might say, "Wow, 你好乖," right? 乖. That's a first tone, high tone. 乖. And that we've put down it means good, but it kind of means like obedient as well. Like it's not good literally is like ho, right? Ho, it literally translates to good, but 乖 kind of has that meaning that you're such a good grandchild to me, right? You're so obedient. You're so 真係好聽話,你好,真係好乖. So you probably have heard this a lot from your grandparents because they love to say it. You hear it in the tea house all the time. They're always saying like, oh, 你乖,你好乖, right? So usually 好乖. Or they just might say 多謝, right? 多謝. 多謝 is your thank you for a gift or a compliment. So that's one thing. Usually, if you're learning Cantonese, you know they say there's two kinds of thank yous. The gai for a service or 多謝 for a gift. But 多謝 also applies to compliments. So remember that when anyone pays you a compliment, the correct way to say thank you is 多謝. Yeah, so those are two answers. Now, some other words to share with you that are important during Chinese New Year are buying new clothes. And typically they might be red in color because that's lucky, but we'll get to that in a minute. So you're going to be, the fifth tone is your rising. So my sun. Now sun is your high tone number 1. My sun. So let's just practice that, okay? 1, 2, 3.
My sun.
sun.
My sun.
Sun.
Yeah, sun. So
Sun.
yes. So let's do it through. Do you guys need me to go over these all through? We've got sam, which is clothes. We have bu, which is your trousers. We have mat, which is your socks. We've got the quan, which is a skirt. And we've got the high, which is your shoes. So let's go through my sun sa, my sun fu, like all of them, okay? So 1, 2, 3.
My sun sam.
My sun fu. My
sun mat.
mat.
Ma.
My
My
sun quan.
quan.
My
sun
high.
Hi.
Very nice.
Yeah, very good. So those are your clothes. Now, another thing that people might find challenging about learning Cantonese is the measure words. We've got the particles at the end, and then we have measure words that go with nouns. And we're calling them counters here, okay? Measure words is another word. You might hear a classifier, you might hear them. So classifiers, measure words, counters, they're all the same thing, and they are coming before a noun. So let's take a look at that first line. It's gin, and that goes with some. So if you, my counter, some object, sorry, I gotta look at what we're doing. My
一件衫. My 一
I was
件
wondering what the
衫.
number. Yeah, I'm like, where's the number? Because typically you'll put a number with it, like how many you're going to buy. So let's put in yet, which is 1. So my yet gin sun sam, right? My yet gin sun sam. Can you guys repeat that one? 1, 2, 3.
My 一
yet
件衫.
sam. And that one goes, it's kind of fun because you're going from 5 to 1. So it's 1 down, 1, 1, 1, 6, 1, 1. My yakin, san sam. The next one is going to be my yatiu fu. My yatiu fu. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
My 一條褲.
Yeah, I forgot the sun. Sorry.
It's okay.
My yatiu fu.
Mhm.
Yeah, or my yatiu sun fu. Okay, the next one we've got is our dou. Now, dou means a
A
pair.
pair.
So, yatdou is like one pair of shoes or one pair of socks. So, remember your shoes is your high and your socks are your mat, right? So, let's try that one saying, buy one pair of new shoes would be 1, 2, 3.
My
一
對新
high.
係
Yep, so
Sun
sun high,
high.
going high to low. Right, yeah, sun high. And the next one would be, the socks would be 1, 2, 3.
My
一
一對新襪
mat.
襪
Yeah, and our last one is our dress or our skirt, which is the fourth low falling quan, right? And the measure word or the counter for that is tiu, right? Tiu, quan. So they're both very low. Can we try just that together? The very low tiu, quan. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
條
Quan.
款
Yeah. So you're going from 5, which is my yet tiu sun quan. Okay, dun 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 dun. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
My 一條新裙
Quan. My yet tiu sun quan. So dun 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 dun. So it can be kind of fun
Yep.
with the different tones.
And then a quick cultural note about my high 我買新鞋. You would never buy shoes or new shoes during Chinese New Year, especially because hi in Cantonese, it sounds like a sigh, like hi. And then you would never want that during Chinese New Year. And you will also never gift shoes to others also because you're gifting the sigh to others. So that's a no-no. So new shoes always have to buy before the start of Chinese New Year.
Okay, so this is another one, just practicing a little bit with what we learned with the measure word and the clothes. This time it's grandma, your skirt, and we also have your pants or your blouse is so pretty, right? So pretty is going to be the last line there. The ho lang is it's so pretty, okay? And let's have a go because we practiced these already, okay? Let's just do the skirt, the first one, the kwan. And forget the ones in brackets at first, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3. Paw, May, Tieu, Quan, Ho, Lang. Paw, Lei Tieu Quan, Ho Lang. Like that. So,
and
how
Popo
about
will
if we-
say, guai.
Yes. Or what else
Tốt
would they say?
chê.
Yeah, guai, ho guai. Yeah. So let's try how about the tiu fu, right?
Tiu.
Again, that's going 4 to 3. Tiu fu. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Paw,
Paw,
Lei,
Tiu
fu,
Ho
lang. Yeah. And
Tốt
the last one is
chê.
oh yeah, sorry, forgot the answer. Taoze or guai, right? Guai. And the last one we've got is our ginsam. So we would say paw. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Paw, ho lang. Now remember, guai. I'm always forgetting the response. Right, the guai or the daoze. And you'll notice too that you can just sometimes point to something and say like ho lang, right? Like if you know what you're talking about, that's perfectly fine just to say like wah ho lang. Like if you just close enough to actually touch them or point to them wah ho lang like in sam.
Yeah, and now after that, we have cleaned the house and that we have had our haircuts and we bought some new clothing. Then we'll move on to more traditions because we are going to be really getting ready the house for Chinese New Year.
Yes. So these, I'm sure everybody has seen these, usually outside of doorways or in other places. And this is your fai chun, your ti fai chun. Decorating with, in English, I guess, couplets, because typically they come in twos. And yeah, Janet, what can you tell us about these?
These, they usually will have a pair on the side of the door and then one that is above the doorway. And then the one that's above the doorway, usually it will say something like "Chut yap ping an," which means have safety when you go in and out. Or in here it says "Man Si Yu Yi," that means everything will go well. And on the side, these are like the longer ones. I actually don't quite know what they mean, but then usually they are all wishing good life and good luck and good wealth. And families tend to decorate their homes inside or outside as a family after they clean their homes to welcome the new year.
Another really popular activity is to hang fasi, and that's visiting the flower market. And during COVID, of course, they were closed. And I'm not sure this year if Hong Kong at Victoria Park is having theirs. I meant to look at that and I didn't. But yeah, hang fasi. And it's not just Victoria Park. In Hong Kong, at least, there's a flower market like in the New Territories, like Sha Tin has one. But Victoria Park is traditionally the biggest one. And it's a lot of fun to go there and buy the flowers for good luck. And also to hang nian xiu, hang nian xiu. Now, you know the hang, I should mention, literally means to walk. Okay, so hang means to walk through, literally walk through. And then lin is your year, lin siu is your Lunar New Year fair.
Yep.
And that hang gives it that meaning of going to and walking around.
And they are very popular events for families to go together. Lin Xiu usually happens again only before Chinese New Year. And once Chinese New Year started, that day one, then Lin Xiu will be over. And there will be a lot of flowers that people can buy. And then sometimes there's food. And then there's also all these little
Pinwheels.
Pinwheels.
Yeah, the pinwheels, or I think pinwheels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
again, it's
very
all
lucky
to bring, it's all to bring good luck.
Mhm.
And then people
Yeah.
will buy flowers a lot of times to bring home to decorate their homes, because all the different flowers, they will have meanings as well.
Yeah, for example, the 头发 fa actually is flower. So that second character and the pinyin for the fa means flower. So 头发 are the peach blossoms, and they're very big, right, Janet? They're like big, and they
Yeah,
take a
they're
lot of
like a
space,
big
but they're
tree. They
so
take a lot
pretty.
of space. They're very pretty, and then they mean is to wish someone to be lucky in love or to find love, because during Chinese New Year or in Chinese culture in general, being in a pair is always the lucky one.
水仙花, the daffodils, these are very popular. And the bowl in which they go, you can kind of see there's dragons around that bowl. They tend to be very decorative and just beautiful.
Yep, and 水仙花 in Chinese culture, it symbolizes good fortune and prosperity. And this type of daffodils, it smells extremely good as well.
The gimlan, which this one I've seen. How do you say gladiolus? The gladiolus flower, another one.
And gimlan, it symbolizes a particular Chinese phrase, which is bobo gosing, which indicates a rise in career and also self-development. The reason why it is because the flowers in the gimlan, it tends to bloom from the bottom to the top. So that's why it means, you can rise to the top, or you will have good self-development. And this is also a very popular Chinese New Year flower.
And then, of course, we've got all of the little tiny tangerine trees. And these are literally trees. You can buy them in the big pot and put them outside your home. A lot of companies will also have them like in their entryways. You'll see them everywhere, the little tangerine trees.
Yep, and the tangerine, it means good luck and good fortune. So the more fruits that you have in the plant, the better it is.
So, activities on New Year's Eve. So take a look at New Year's Eve. Remember, we said that there's the 28th, Lin Ya Bat, Lin Ya Gao is the 29th, and this one is going to be another way to say, it's a condensed version. You've got your name, which is year. Sa. It's kind of hard to break it down because when you say it, it's a contraction. It's kind of like trying to break down I'm instead of just saying I'm. So Lin Sa Man. Right, Lin Sa Man, and it's just a sa that you'll get used to saying, and that is how to say 30 in a condensed version, Lin Sa Man, and that's New Year's Eve. So some of the activities that you do are listed here. Worship your ancestors. Very important to have your family dinner and to stay up past midnight and light firecrackers, but I guess that's not legal.
Yep, and
Here,
Wendy,
right?
maybe you can explain about why people stay up past midnight on that very last day of Chinese New Year's Eve.
Sure. Hi, this is Wendy. This has a very traditional folktale behind it. Back in the day when I was a child, we used to listen to a lot of stories, and one of them has to do with this monster called Lin. And you would notice that Lin is the same as the Lin Sama, that first word. So the story goes that long time ago, there's a monster called Lin, and he would come out on New Year's Eve to harm people. and he only harms those who fell asleep. That's why people stay up all night, and when New Year's strike, they would light firecracker to scare the monster away. That's why if you live in Oakland and you live in the flatland, you will hear a lot of firecracker when New Year comes.
Yep.
That's
So-
so interesting. I've learned so much from you guys. Even
I
mean, I've been in Hong Kong.
remember staying up past midnight, but I didn't understand why until now.
That's so true, because before we are preparing for tonight's Canto Talk, talking about it, and I'm like, wow, I've been in Hong Kong 33 years. I've been with my husband for almost that entire time. I've done Chinese New Year every single year, and a lot of it I just never really, we do it, but I didn't really know why.
Right.
So this is, I hope you guys are finding it just as interesting, because I'm like, really? Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But this is the most important dinner, as we mentioned before, and this is your Tu Nin Fan. The Tu Nin Fan is coming together, and all of the dishes have very special significance. And I will admit, I don't like, I don't usually like some of the dishes because they're culturally significant, but they're kind of strange. Some of them, not all of them, of course.
Not all of
some
them,
of them,
yeah.
not all
But
of them.
I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of superstitions and also traditions that intertwine with the food that is served during Chinese New Year.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, they have symbolic meanings to ensure a prosperous and lucky New Year. So let's see what kind of food is being served.
So this one is going to be fish, and that's a good one, right? Fish, yu. Now that's your
Mhm.
second mid-rising. Yu is your fish, but the reason that they eat it is because it sounds a lot like the saying "nin yao yu," and that yu is the fourth low falling tone, right? So we've got yu is fish and yu, and that kind of means having a surplus every year in business or just in your life. You've got more of everything every year. And something interesting you'll notice is nin. In Cantonese, when you double up a character like yan is person. If you say two of them together, yan, it just means everybody. So when you say 2 years together, lin, it means every year, not 2 years, but every year, right? And you'll notice that a lot. Again, liking the pairs. So the next one is our gai, first tone, high tone, gai, and that means chicken. And chicken is very good to eat. And the reason that they have it is because it sounds like this, right? Is that why?
They said it
The
sounds like it. I
gai
think
gai
especially maybe in Mandarin, maybe. But it's
Mm.
gai and gut, and then it's dai gut. Dai gut, dai lei. That's what it sort of sound to them. The word chicken sounds like it. Sounds like gut. So people believe that it is good luck. And gai is often included in many occasions, I think. And especially during Chinese New Year or New Year's Eve dinner, 春年饭. Oh, and this one, not Sue's favorite.
No, that's
Here it's mine. So Wendy says she can explain.
If you ever
Take it
see
away,
that
Wendy.
brown dish during your Lunar New Year dinner, it has really good meanings. I don't know if any of you know about fa choy, the hair-like algae that was in the dish. So fa choy sounds very similar to fa choy. It means getting rich. And ho si, this thing in the middle, it's a dry oyster that has a very strong taste to them. And the whole thing together, fa choy ho si, sounds like fa choy ho si. That's the whole phrases together just mean you're getting rich.
Yeah, and the stock market is good. And then you will also see a lot of these mushrooms in here. The mushroom, they say it looks like a gold coin. So it's all,
All about money.
money. Yeah, in Chinese New Year, a lot of times it's about, getting good luck, getting good fortune. All right, Sue, your favorite.
Mhm.
I was just replying to Vivian saying, I'm so glad you like it. I just can't get past the texture of the fa chai or the tau fat. The tau fat, yeah. I just can't get,
How fun.
yeah,
That's
the
funny.
tau fat. Yeah, it's, yeah. But I'm glad you like it. So this one is going to be your dai ha, right? Ha, the first one, ha is shrimp. So dai is just big, dai ha. And that kind of has the meaning of ha is like a ha ha ha, right? Like a laugh, like a laugh. So
Mhm.
dai ha is your siu hao Shanghai. Siu hao Shanghai is just meaning you like to laugh and smile a lot and often.
Yeah. So ha is a very popular dish during Chinese New Year because we want people to be happy too.
Mhm. And I suppose
your
the color is
kids-
good too, right? The color of
Yes.
shrimp is more like
Yes.
the red pink color of shrimp is a very
Mhm.
lucky color too.
Mhm.
Ooh, my favorite too.
Yep. It's Tong Yun, everybody's
Mhm.
favorite. So Tong Yun, it means Hap Ga Tun Yun. So in English, it pretty much translates to family reunion and togetherness and everything that goes well. It's round, so it's signify a full circle. So anything that is round is a full circle. So Tong Yun usually is the very last dish that is being served during Chinese New Year's Eve dinner to just to have everybody together and to have a meal together is something that I think Chinese culture really celebrates. And then this little thing is like a mochi, and then it has red bean inside. Sometimes you'll have black sesame inside. And then the soup, a lot of times, especially in Cantonese, they will use some ginger and brown sugar to make the soup as well. It's really, really good.
And I'll give you a tip. My favorite is the zima, the black sesame. And if
Mhm.
you have the black sesame soup and then you add the black sesame tong yun, it's the best.
Mm.
If you haven't tried that, it's really, really good. I missed that. Yeah, so the next one, have you guys heard of like the big pot meal where you've got like one pot and everything's in it? And you typically order this days in advance. And there's certain places, especially in the New Territories in Hong Kong, that will specialize in making these pon chai. So it's the pon chai, right? And pon is the actual dish, the bowl, right? And the chai are the things that go inside, the vegetables and things that go inside. And yeah, there's places that specialize and you order it in advance and you get all your family together and you eat it.
Yeah. And then remember last time we talked about the numbers, the lucky numbers. And here you can also see how much they price it at. Is 888 at the end, 988. And this is in Hong Kong price. And then 1688. So the 8, again, it means getting rich. So even the price itself, it wants to present that lucky number as well. And then the last one.
Oh my goodness. Lô bạc cô, Wu Tao
Yeah,
cô.
we have all the
Yes,
lobak
that
go and
means
wu tao go. So go, again, it means bobo go saying, which is a rise in career and also in your self-development or maybe getting tall. I think in many of the American movies, sometimes they feature dumplings, making and dumplings eating. Dumpling eatings and dumpling making is more popular with northern China. So let's say if cities like Beijing, Shanghai, or Tianjin, then they will do dumplings. But then for Hong Kong, we do a lot of these different kind of goals. Sue, would you like to go over these different goals with them?
Oh, sure. Okay, so the first one is going to be the turnip cake, and that's probably the most popular one that you're going to see. And it is now the very low, and high for the go. So lo ba go. Gonna try that one. 1, 2, 3.
Lô
Lo ba
Go.
Mm-hmm. The second one is going to go 6, 2, 1. So you're going to be wu tao go. 1, 2, 3. Wu tao go.
This one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the coconut rice cake. Well, first of all, coconut is your ye zap, right? Ye is very low. Zap is very high. Zap is like juice. So you might know the character zup or the word zup meaning juice, but coconut is yeah. So yeah, up, ning go. So you're down, up, down, up. Let's try that one, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, up,
Ning
ning
go.
go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, up, ning go. And our next one is going to be another fun one because we're down, mid rising, down, high tone 1. So this is our hong dao, which is your red bean. Hong dao, hong is red, right? Hong dao, dao is bean. So literally red bean, hong dao. And then our ning go. Let's try that in 1, 2, 3. Hong dao, ning go. Mm-hmm. Hong dao, ning go.
All right.
And yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of wraps up for tonight. I think we're making everybody hungry again.
So you guys are lucky being in Oakland because you can just probably they've got do you have dessert shops, good dessert shops in Oakland?
We can actually buy those if it is the tongyu, we can buy them frozen. And then Lobako, there's a lot of bakery that sells them. There's also a restaurant that sells them. For me, I make them. And then Wendy's mom also made it for me. That tasted so good.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, we're
I
very
miss.
lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, making
Yeah.
lobako is a big thing too, I think. Getting the kids to help, getting it prepared ahead of time. So during Chinese New Year, then you will have something to eat and then to feed people who are going to come to visit you as well. So thank you to Sue again for tonight's lesson. And then next week, we will have our last lesson of the Chinese New Year edition, Let's CantoTalk. And then next one, I think that is when we're going to talk about the first few days of Chinese New Year. What do people do? And then Sue will also introduce some phrases to you so then you can learn how to greet your visitors and also greet your parents or family members as well.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know the weather out there is, I hope it improves. And thank you guys, for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you again. So hopefully we will see you guys next week. And then make sure you guys sign up using our link. I will follow up with an email tomorrow with the slides and also an handout. Thank you again. Stay safe and